Ladies and gentlemen, fear is one of the most powerful forces in the world. It will stop you in your tracks, paralyze your dreams, and keep you stuck in places you were never meant to stay. Fear will whisper in your ear, telling you that you're not good enough, that you don't have what it takes, that you'll never make it. But let me tell you something, faith speaks louder than fear. Faith tells you to keep going when everything in you wants to quit. Faith tells you that even when you can't see the way, there is a way. Faith tells you that no matter how big the obstacle, God is bigger. Fear makes you look at the storm. Faith makes you look beyond it. When Peter walked on water, he wasn't walking on the sea, he was walking on faith. The moment he took his eyes off Jesus, the waves started pulling him under. That's what fear does. It distracts you. It takes your focus off God and puts it on your problems. And the more you focus on your problems, the bigger they seem. But when you focus on God, you realize that the storm you're afraid of is under his feet. Faith doesn't mean you won't feel fear. It means you won't bow to it. You can be scared and still move forward. You can be uncertain and still take that next step. Faith is not about having all the answers. It's about trusting the one who does. You don't have to know how everything will work out. You don't have to see the whole plan. You just have to trust the one who wrote it. Every great blessing in life requires a step of faith. You don't get to the promised land without walking through the wilderness. You don't see miracles if you're too afraid to move. Faith is stepping out even when you don't know where you're going. It's believing that even if things don't go how you planned, they'll go how God planned. Fear says, what if I fail? Faith says, what if this is my breakthrough? Fear says, what if I lose? Faith says, what if I win? Fear says, I can't. Faith says, with God, all things are possible. Faith is a choice. Every single day, you have to decide, will I live by fear or will I walk by faith? We live in a world that demands instant results. We want things now, fast, right away. When we pray, we expect an answer immediately. When we work hard, we want success overnight. When we ask for a breakthrough, we don't want to wait. We want it on our schedule. But God doesn't work on human time. He works on his time. You see, delay does not mean denial. Just because something hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it's not going to happen. God's timing is perfect, even when it doesn't match our expectations. Think about Joseph. He had a dream that he would be a great leader, but before he reached that place, he was thrown into a pit, sold into slavery, falsely accused, and locked in prison. Year after year, he suffered setbacks. If Joseph had judged his future by his present situation, he would have thought that God had forgotten him. But what looked like delays were really God's way of preparing him. At the right time, Joseph was promoted from the prison to the palace. And when he got there, he was ready for it. That's what we need to understand. Sometimes God holds things back because we're not ready. We may think we are, but he sees what we can't. He knows the weight of the blessings he's preparing for us, and he knows what it will take to carry them. If he gave us everything we wanted too soon, it could crush us instead of bless us. That relationship you wanted so badly, he saw the heartbreak it would have brought. That job you thought was perfect, he knew it would have taken you away from your purpose. That opportunity you felt overlooked for, he knew it wasn't big enough for what he has planned for you. There's a reason why fruit doesn't grow overnight. A seed has to be planted, watered, and given time to grow before it's ready to bear fruit. If you rush the process, you ruin the harvest. That's why patience is necessary. God is never late, never early, always on time. What he has for you is already written, already set, already yours. The only thing between you and the promise is time. So when it feels like nothing is happening, trust that something is. When it seems like doors aren't opening, trust that the right one will. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean he's not working. Nobody likes going through hard times. Nobody enjoys struggle, pain, or setbacks. When life knocks you down, the first question we ask is, why me? We wonder why we have to go through things that seem unfair, why we face obstacles we didn't see coming, why we suffer losses we didn't deserve. But what if I told you that your struggles aren't happening to you, they're happening for you? You see, every test in life serves a purpose. Every trial, every hardship, every difficult season is shaping you into the person you were meant to be. God doesn't waste pain. What you're going through today is preparing you for what's coming tomorrow. That setback, that disappointment, that loss is not the end of your story. It's just a chapter before the breakthrough. Look at the greatest success stories, the strongest people, the most powerful testimonies. You'll find that they all have something in common. They went through something. They were tested. They were pushed, stretched, and refined through the fire. Without the struggle, they wouldn't have the strength. Without the loss, they wouldn't have the wisdom. Without the test, there would be no testimony. Think about David. Before he ever faced Goliath, he had to fight lions and bears. Those battles prepared him for the giant. Think about Job. He lost everything, but his faith never wavered, and in the end, God restored him double. Think about Jesus. He endured the cross, the ultimate test, and because of that, we have salvation. Every great victory comes after a great battle. So when you're in the middle of a storm, don't let it break you. Let it build you. You may not understand it now, but one day you'll look back and realize why you had to go through it. The pain you endured will become the story that inspires someone else. The challenge you overcame will be proof of God's power in your life. What you thought was your breaking point will turn out to be your breakthrough. The enemy wants you to think that your struggle means you've been forgotten. That's a lie. If you're being tested, that means God is still working on you. It means he's preparing you, stretching you, strengthening you for something greater. The test is never about what's happening to you. It's about what's happening inside you. And when you make it through, you won't just be standing, you'll be standing stronger. Life has a way of throwing obstacles in your path just when you're on the edge of something great. You start working toward your dream, and suddenly challenges appear out of nowhere. You step out in faith, and immediately doubt creeps in. You put in the effort, and instead of seeing results, you face rejection, disappointment, and roadblocks. It's easy to get discouraged. Easy to start questioning if you're even on the right path. But let me tell you something, the closer you get to your breakthrough, the harder the enemy will try to stop you.